Hey guys, Mr. Yisley here. So we're on to lesson number 3 in chapter 2b, which is all about solving linear inequalities. Now, lesson number 3 is talking specifically about how do we graph these inequalities? What do they look like? So when we go to graph these inequalities, we're going to use a number line. And the number line is a way to signify what numbers would actually make this inequality true. And so what you'll end up seeing, as I mentioned earlier in lesson number 2, was that inequalities have more than one number that can satisfy them. There are a lot of numbers greater than 2. So anytime they say what is greater than 2, you'd have a whole list of numbers. So we actually have a way of showing that on a number line so that you don't have to write out every single number that is greater than 2. Which you couldn't do. You literally cannot write enough numbers in your lifetime to satisfy that, because numbers go on forever and ever and ever. So let's take a look at how we can graph these. So with this, there's really about 5 steps to it. So how to graph an inequality? First step is we choose a number to the left of the number in the simplified inequality. So we're gonna end up with stuff like x is greater than 5. And so we would choose a number that would be left of 5 on a number line. And the reason we're going to do that is then we're going to substitute it in, so much like we learned about in lesson number 2, and we're going to see if the inequality is true, right? We're going to substitute it in and see if that makes the inequality true. After we've done that, then we're going to choose a number to the right of the inequality. So we're going to choose one to the right of that number. So again, with our example of x is greater than 5, right? I would choose a number to the right of 5. So that might be like 6 or 7 or 8. And then I would plug that in to the inequality for x, and I would see, all right, does that make it true? So is it true? Now what you're going to find is with these, there's only one of those that's going to be true. Either the left side or the right side is going to be true. And that's a big indicator for us when it comes to graphing, right? Whichever side is true is going to tell us specifically what our graph is going to look like. Now before we go on to that portion, all right, what we want to talk about is if the inequality has an equals to portion, right? So if we've got an equals to portion on that inequality, all right, then the number in the simplified inequality is also a solution. All right, it's also a solution. Now, the reason that's important is because what you're going to see here in a minute, right, is that we start at the number they give us. So we would start at 5, and we're going to draw a circle. Now, if it is a solution, that's going to determine what the circle looks like in terms of, is it a filled-in circle or is it not, all right? So on step 4, that's what you're actually going to do, all right? We're going to start on the number line, all right, with the value that's listed. So start with value listed, all right? And we're going to draw a circle. So we would draw a circle at 5, all right? If there is an equals to sign, all right? If there's any portion of an equals to sign, that means, all right, again, draw a circle and fill that thing in. We're going to color it in, all right? If there is no equals sign, all right, then it is an open circle. So we do not color in the circle, all right? Fifth step is then we draw an arrow off the circle in the direction that we found was true. So here's where those two numbers, the left side and the right side, come into play. Right? Did the left one make it true or did the right one make it true? Whichever one made it true is where we are going to draw the arrow going in that direction. So again, draw an arrow off the circle in the direction that is true. All right, so that's a lot of words. Let's actually put that into use here. We've got 3 examples. Example A says y is less than or equal to -3. Y is less than or equal to -3. So first step when graphing is we're going to choose a number to the left of -3. So if I come over here to -3, I want to choose one of these numbers. Now remember, on number lines, because you're going to have to label some of yours, all right? Numbers always get smaller going to the left and greater or bigger going to the right. So what we're looking at when I have -3, I'm going to choose a number to the left. I choose -4. And I'm going to substitute that in for the variable of y and see if it makes it true. So -4 in for y which is less than or equal to negative 3. Well, I need to decide, is negative 4 equal to negative 3? Well, no, it's not. But is negative 4 less than negative 3? It is. So that means this is true. Right? Well, that should mean that our arrow should be going to the left. But let's just verify that by checking the right side. So then I'm going to choose a number to the right of negative 3. So a number to the right. Then the first number I see is negative 2, so I'm going to plug that in. Negative 2 is less than or equal to negative 3. So then I want to see, does that make that true? Well, is negative 2 equal to negative 3? No, it's not. Is negative 2 less than negative 3? Well, no, it's not, because it's moving towards the right. So that means that this is false. So then next step is now I want to go to my number line and I want to graph this, right? So I start at negative 3, the initial number they gave me, and I draw my circle. Then I need to look, is there a portion of an equals to sign? Well, there is a portion of an equals to sign right there. So I see one right there. So that means that this is a filled in circle. So last part then is I need to figure out which way is my arrow going to go. Is it going to go left or is it going to go right? Well, if I show my two substituted values on the left and on the right, it makes it pretty easy. My arrow needs to go towards the true one. Well, the true one was negative 4, the one to the left. So I should have an arrow coming off right here with it drawn right there. And I'm sorry, I know you can't see that. Let me move that up. I apologize. So as I was talking about, I substituted in my two numbers here, right? So negative 4, I plugged it in, figured out it was less than negative 3, so it was true. Then the number to the right, negative 2, I plugged that in, figured out that was false. Then when I went to graph it, I went to negative 3, drew my circle, and filled it in because there was a portion of an equals to sign. And then I drew my arrow to the left because it was true, moving towards the left. All right, well, in terms of work, this would be what you would show in order to receive full credit when it comes to graphing these inequalities. So let's take a look at example B. I would encourage you to try this one on your own, then check your answer with mine. So example B says 2 is less than x. So first thing I need to do is I need to find my number 2 and pick a number to the right of it. Well, the first number I see to the right, or excuse me, a number to the left of it. I always like to start on the left. So the first number I see to the left of 2 is 1. Now I could choose any number to the left that I want. I just chose to choose the one right next to it. So I'm going to take that 1 and I'm going to plug it in for x. So I've got 2 is less than 1. So now I need to decide, is that true? Well, is 2 less than 1? No, 2 is greater than 1, so that means this is false. So this right here should tell me that every number towards the right of 2 should be correct. But let's pick a number to the right and make sure that that is true. So I choose the number 3. That's the first one to the left, or excuse me, to the right of the number 2. So I'm going to plug that in. 2 is less than 3. Well, is 2 less than 3? Yes, it is. So that makes that true. So now I should know which way my arrow goes. So next thing I need to do is I need to go to the actual number itself, 2, and I need to draw my circle. Now I need to determine if it's going to be filled in or not filled in. Well, if there is a portion of an equals to sign in the inequality symbol, then it is filled in. But there is no portion of an equals to sign, which means that it is an open circle. Last thing I need to do is I need to draw my arrow, and it's going to go towards the true side. Well, when I look at my two comparisons, the one to the right is true, so I'm going to draw my arrow moving to the right. All right, well, last example here, example C, I'd encourage you to try this on your own, so make sure you pause the video, then when you're done, check your answer with mine. So example C says x is greater than 0. So my number is 0 here. First thing I got to do, choose a number to the left and plug it in to see if it's true. So I choose negative 1. Negative 1 is greater than 0. Is that true? Negative 1 is not greater than 0, so that is false. So my number moving towards the right of 0 should be true, but let's check it. So first number I choose is 1. So I've got 1 is greater than 0. Well, is that true? Yes, that is true. So that means that all the numbers moving to the right should be correct. So next step, I need to go to 0 and draw my circle. All right, then I need to figure out if it's filled in. Well, again, if it has a portion of an equals to sign in the inequality symbol, then it is filled in. There is no portion of an equals to sign in the inequality symbol, so I do not fill that in. And that means now I need to draw my arrow. When I look at my two comparisons here, I see that the true is moving towards the right, so I need to have my arrow going towards the right. All right. Well, again, reminder in terms of work, this would be everything that you need to show. If you have any additional questions on graphing inequalities, please let me know. But otherwise, you should have what you need to continue on in the chapter.